Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time on this Thursday night. Appreciate everybody jumping in here at the 2-minute warning of Thursday Night Football. Not a terribly good game, as is the case with most Thursday Night Football games. Bears leading the Commander-Skins football team 20-3 right now, and Sam Howell has just thrown an interception. So in the interim of entertaining football, we will talk about your football team, and we will get into the latest on Treylon Burks and his knee injury. We will get into a couple of different notes that are worth paying attention to from this weekend in sports. And certainly we will get to a weekend bounce back at the end of the show. Got a lot of good stuff to get to throughout the course of the evening. We always appreciate your all's participation, and we certainly love you even more when you share the broadcast around. So if you're hanging out on Twitter, please retweet the show. Facebook Live like Kenny Hill and Billy Jones. You can like the video. You can share now to public. That's in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. YouTube and Twitch like Jacob Owens. And is it The Real Cricket on YouTube? For sure. You can like the video. Subscribe to the channel. Tell a friend to do the same if you have not done so yourself already. And while you do that, and as more of you start to file on in here ahead of halftime and through halftime of Thursday Night Football, we can go ahead and get started discussing Treylon Burks and this unfortunate setback with the Titans' young wide receiver. Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time from the Zen Sports Studios. I'm your host, Buck Rising. If you're new to the show, I am proud, as always, to be presented to you by the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. Wherever justice demands, Amanda J. and her team have you covered. Get your constitutional rights protected with the best in the business at amandajgentry.com. True Math Fitness, where you go for the best version of you. A new way to work out for the new you in 2023. Just because the weather is starting to get colder does not mean that your fitness has to suffer. Go to truemathfitness.com. and your first workout is free. And of course, the Zen Sportsbook app. Download the Zen Sports app today. Plug in that promo code that you see behind me, ATOZTN. ATOZTN gets you unlimited 5% cash back for your first 15 days of wagering. Download the Zen Sports app and start wagering today. So the Bears have the football right now as we get under the 2-minute warning. Minute 45 or so. I'm a little behind a lot of you guys if you're streaming it like Bert is on Twitch. But Commanders really struggling right now on offense. Sam Howell just threw an interception. And speaking of struggling offenses or offenses that could do with a boost, Treylon Burks is, a player who I think a lot of you guys get frustrated with for the same reason that you get frustrated with Kyle Phillips. They're both second-year wide receivers. You could really use both of their help. And too often, for a variety of different reasons, they are unavailable in their first season and 4 games thus far. So Treylon Burks missed the Bengals game. He is probably not going to play against the Indianapolis Colts. They have not put him on injured reserve, which leads me to think that he may be possible for the Ravens game in London, but if not, they have the bye to get him right before Atlanta, so he does not have to miss an additional 4 games beyond the bye. So the plan right now is to try and get Treylon Burks healthy as soon as humanly possible, and we'll get into the details, or at least the details as we know them, about Treylon Burks' injury right now and their plan to manage his situation moving forward. We will start with your Two Rivers Ford take, of course, in the comment section. If you would like to get involved, we would be happy to have you. In the comments on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and on Twitch, wherever you are streaming us tonight, let me know how much you think the Titans offense needs Treylon Burks right now. We will talk about it together. You can, as I said, interact in the comment section as you so choose. While you do so, we will discuss amongst ourselves, of course, and remind you that your Two Rivers Ford take is presented by the wonderful people at Two Rivers Ford. Quality American-made Ford vehicles. Touchdown Bears. I'm slightly behind. Cole Kmet just scored for the Chicago Bears. It's about to be 27-3, pending an extra point. You can always score when you go to Two Rivers Ford. Quality American-made Ford vehicles, award-winning customer service. Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet or online at tworiversford.com. This is a pretty embarrassing performance by the Commanders, and it's kind of crazy that all of these NFL teams, or so many of these NFL teams, are performing well one week and then just falling absolutely flat the next. Now, theoretically, as we get to almost halftime, and as the Bears go up 27-3 here in Washington, maybe Sam Howell can lead a comeback. But right now, this is an absolute ass kicking in Landover, Maryland, in front of what looks like a really great crowd. I've done games, and I know it was a Titans-Commanders game. It was a noon kickoff, or I guess a 1 p.m. Central kickoff. So those are less covered or less attended games anyway. But that's pretty wild to see FedEx Field packed that way, given who the Commanders have been for a franchise. Eric Alonso says NFL is rigged for gambling. Man, I don't know how we'll give you the opportunity to make some cash back on your bets with Zen Sports, but I don't know how anybody bets on the NFL. It's such a batshit crazy league, to be honest with you. But we will get to the Zen Sports portion of the programming later. Meanwhile, it's your Two Rivers Ford take. How much do you need Treylon Burks in the offense? Billy Jones says, I think we're okay without him if Phillips plays. Let's get him right. Let's see. For Jonathan Anderson, we definitely need him. Some people hate on him because he has drops, but he's only human and he's a playmaker. So in a perfect world, he would be a playmaker, and he has certainly made plays in a limited sample size, Jonathan. But I would rather him make the routine 2nd and 5 catch. And I know it sounds ridiculous. Like, I know that he has the big play potential. I would much rather him make the routine catch across the middle of the field. I would much rather see him convert a third and 6 than bank on him catching 70-yard explosive plays or deep passes for touchdowns. The part that makes Treylon Burks special is that he has the ability to do that. The thing that is going to make Treylon Burks a reliable receiver is making those routine plays. And that is something that has, lacked from his game thus far. We've seen it in spurts, we've seen it in moments, but we haven't seen it on a down in, down out basis. And I struggle with the idea of him as a playmaker when you're relying on such boom or bust potential. Now, the bust being that he's not on the field enough. And, I don't know how many games in total he's going to miss. I know that he probably stands to miss his second game of the season 5 weeks in. So we will see what beyond the Colts game and how the knee injury responds, or how he responds with the knee injury. But for Treylon Burks right now, how much does the offense need? I mean, of course you need him. Lewis Duffield says correctly, we need him healthy, period. And that is 100% correct. You need all of your players healthy as often as you can get them. Skoronski, Phillips, Treylon Burks. I don't think anybody on the defense that comes to mind immediately has experienced a significant injury that has cost them time just yet. I mean, Mike Brown, the safety, went on IR. I guess there's been a couple of players who have missed some time early in the season, but still, you are I'm blanking. Christian Fulton, the corner, right? You want all of your players as healthy as humanly possible. But I think that, the frustration around Treylon Burks is that a lot of these injuries, though they are different injuries, have come in a short amount of time, so early on in his career. And you want to see the former first-round pick, who was brought in here in the absence of A.J. Brown, go out there and fill the void. But right now, you're not getting that. You're getting players to fill the void. You're just not getting meaningful contributions from Treylon Burks. So I don't want to act like they don't need him, but he has not been an impactful or consistent enough player for me to say they rely on Treylon Burks to come up for them in big spots. they are relying on Treylon Burks to come up for them in big spots. He has not been able to do so consistently thus far. Kenny Hill says in the comment section on Facebook Live, we need him healthy, and I think we can maintain without him against the Colts. Do you need him right away? Yusuf says it took Burks turf toe to have a mini breakout last year. Make this be his big breakout. Make this be his big breakout. I don't, last year wasn't a breakout. I guess the Bengals game, he played well. The Packers game, he played well. But, is one or two performances enough to be considered a breakout? To break out on the scene would be what, and I'm not the A.J. Brown thing is tired, but A.J. Brown was a breakout player, right, at the wide receiver position. The guy doesn't have to be Justin Jefferson, but Justin Jefferson was a breakout player at the wide receiver position. A game or two here or there is not a breakout player. It's a good performance, but Treylon Burks, as far as I'm concerned, has not had really the kind of enough moments in the NFL for me to look at that and say, all right, this player has officially arrived as somebody who can be considered worthy of his draft pedigree in the NFL. It's just not there yet. William Jones says, I remember y'all saying that he was going to be just as good as A.J. Brown. I don't know if you're talking to me or talking to people in the comments, William, but he was drafted in the mold of A.J. Brown. The idea that he would be A.J. Brown is not a fair expectation that I would put on anybody. Commanders being booed as they trot into the locker room for halftime. Ron Rivera looking pretty displeased with the results. Matt Eberflus, this is really the first time that I've learned what Matt Eberflus looked like, the Chicago Bears head coach. They are outgaining the Commanders 307 yards to 84 in the first half of play. Matt Eberflus has to be happy with what his quarterback and what his top wide receiver looked like so far. Burks was disappointing this season before the injury, says Puka. Yeah, that's kind of how I felt about it as well. But Mike Vrabel has said that he liked the way that the other wide receivers without Burks and without Phillips to start the season have stepped up, and he brought up those guys by name on Sunday.
Did the receivers step up with Treylon out?
Well, Nick and Chris, they have made plays throughout the early part of this season when called upon. Those guys work extremely hard. They play on special teams for us. They know all receiver spots, invaluable, versatile players. So I was happy to see them have success, and they both came up with big plays today. And you saw Chris in there as a gunner, as a plus 50 gunner, knocking the ball loose. We'll have to get guys closer there the next time when we make a play. So, Mason did a nice job catching punts, and Hop came up with the plays that he needed as well.
So that was Mike Vrabel speaking to the media on Sunday night after the Titans game, after the Titans had beaten the Bengals in the absence of Treylon Burks. We'll talk more about the wide receivers and the guys who have made plays, because I do think he brought up a couple of important points there. We'll do so right after I remind you that the Primetime Show is presented by the great people at the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. Wherever justice demands, that's where Amanda J. and her team go to serve you. They have done so for Middle Tennesseans in 35 counties across this great state. So not just Middle Tennessee, but across the state of Tennessee. Amanda J. Gentry and her team are there to protect you. You may not know what you need protection against. You may not know the extent of your constitutional rights. That's what Amanda and her team are there to serve you for. AmandaJGentry.com for more information. So the wide receivers, in the absence of Treylon Burks and Kyle Phillips, Chris Moore and NWI, have been better than you could ask for. Now, I know that that's not what you want from your offense, Chris Moore and NWI, but they're the guys who are available. They're more available than Treylon Burks. They make plays more consistently than Treylon Burks. If I told you that Nick Westbrook-Akina, and I am also frustrated by this, even though it's no slight on NWI, if I told you that NWI is a more consistent playmaker than Treylon Burks, are any of you going to dispute that? I don't know how you possibly could. And that's got to drive you nuts. Of course it would. Because Treylon Burks, of course, has the potential to be that plus. But I can't sit there and with an honest, with an honest approach and argue on behalf of Treylon Burks being the more reliable playmaker for the Tennessee Titans in one season plus 4 games of another season in the start of Treylon Burks's career. That is disappointing by any stretch of the imagination. And while I'm not, it's not Treylon Burks' fault that he got turf toe. It's not Treylon Burks' fault that he got concussed. It's not Treylon Burks' fault that he suffered an LCL sprain in Minnesota. It's not Treylon Burks' fault that he got hurt in practice, had a knee injury in practice ahead of the Cincinnati Bengals, and is probably going to have to miss multiple games, likely, almost positively this coming Sunday, and how much further beyond we will see. But I don't know how anybody could sit there and tell me truly that for all your frustrations with Nick Westbrook-Akina, simply because he exists instead of your other wide receivers who you want to make plays or want to be out there instead of NWI, in the absence of those guys, and all that NWI is be available. And that is kind of the state of things right now, to his credit, even though it probably drives you crazy. A to Z Sports Prime Time is presented by True Math Fitness in the Gulch. Go to TrueMathFitness.com. Your first workout is free. As a Middle Tennessee resident, nobody is going to get you a better workout than True Math Fitness in the Gulch. I love True Math Fitness. I love the boot camp style classes. I love how efficient they are, 40 minutes from start to finish for you to get on with your workday. If you go in the morning, for you to work out efficiently afterwards and continue to keep your energy levels high instead of hitting that slump that so many of us do when we get tired, when we get home. We immediately go to the fridge because we're exhausted. We want to stress eat. We want to eat because we're worn down. I fall into that trap all the time. I used to fall into that trap all the time after the primetime show, certainly. But True Math Fitness gave me the tools and certainly gave me a workout plan that I needed to succeed. They can do the same for you, where your first workout is free at TrueMathFitness.com. So we will see what happens with Treylon Burks moving forward. Felipe says the story behind Treylon Burks, if I remember correctly, is that he was very similar to A.J. Brown, referring to build, style, and, of course, cheaper. But the guy is made of glass. A.J. is the best wide receiver we've ever had as a top-tier wide receiver. Second best is Derek Mason. Correct. All of that is correct. Treylon Burks physically is built like AJ. In fact, he's bigger than AJ. The problem is that AJ, while he did have durability issues here, he has not had them in Philadelphia. AJ Brown does not miss games in Philadelphia. All AJ Brown does is make plays in Philadelphia. It's absolutely been the case. The trade looks as bad as any trade could possibly look in recent NFL history, because, at least when the Chiefs let Tyreek Hill walk, it was because they had the $500 million quarterback on the roster that can find ways to make up for it. I can't do it all by himself all the time. He needs guys like Travis Kelce out there to be healthy and available. But the A.J. Brown situation post-Titans is a much healthier and much more durable A.J. Burks, for whatever reason, is not durable here, and is not near the playmaker when he is healthy that A.J. was when he's here. So it is frustrating on both fronts, one would imagine. And that is the reason why the A.J. Brown, you could be upset about trading A.J. Brown away if you had a decent wide receiver. Treylon may be one, but he's not yet, or at least he hasn't proven to be thus far. Speaking of Colts week, it is Colts Hate Week, and we had a special guest. We did a special edition, an early week edition of the 615 Sessions podcast with Titans legend Keith Bulluck, who's played in a lot of these great AFC South games, obviously played in the AFC Central as well when the Titans were a part of that, as he called it, black and blue division with the Steelers, the Bengals, the Ravens, and the Browns as well. You look at your favorite Colts-Titans memories. There have been a lot more of them recently because the Titans have not even slick, but out loud owned that rivalry in the last 5 meetings, and they have won their last 5 games at Lucas Oil Stadium, which is even crazier to think about. Streaks are made to be broken, or streaks are made to be ended. So we'll see if they can continue that streak of success heading up to Indianapolis. But Bulluck was on the podcast today. We had a lot of fun. It's available if you want to watch it in its entirety on the A to Z Sports YouTube channel. It's also available wherever you get your podcasts on demand in the A to Z Sports podcast network. So we talked to Bulluck today. I asked him his favorite Colts-Titans memory. You'll hear that momentarily right after a reminder that the Primetime Show is presented by Zen Sports. You see them right behind me over my shoulder. You see that promo code ATOZTN. That is the promo code that you use for unlimited 5% cash back for your first 15 days of wagering, whether it's Thursday night, Saturday college football, Sunday NFL. We've got baseball playoffs that were on before the football was. So many great sports to wager on in October. Preds back for Nashville sports fans. Preds back on the ice, I think on the 10th or the 11th. I know their home opener is here on the 12th against the Kraken. I'm going to be there. I'm excited about it. It's going to be a great time. But you can wager on all of those things at Zen Sports, and you'll get unlimited 5% cash back for your first 15 days of wagering using that promo code ATOZTN when you download the Zen Sports app today. Terms and conditions do apply. Gambling problem, call the Tennessee Red Line, 1-800-889-9789. Must be 21 or up in Tennessee to wager. What's your favorite Colts-Titans memory? There's a lot of great games over the years. Some of it was lopsided in favor of the Colts for a long time. More recently, the Titans have very much owned that series. I asked Keith Bulluck that question today on the 615 Sessions podcast. Gave a pretty good answer. With that being said, Colts Hate Week, people are juiced. People are live streaming, watching the podcast today. They're all fired up to have Mr. Monday Night on a podcast. What's your favorite memory of playing the Colts in a game where you got them?
I think the first time ever playing them, because it was a year we started off 1-4. My first year starting, we didn't know any better. I didn't know any better. Me, Tank Williams, a young Albert Haynesworth, Samari Rolle. We beat him up pretty bad. And I remember Tank, we had a double blitz off the outside, a double dog blitz off the outside, and Tank hit Peyton from the blind side and knocked the ball out. I scooped it and I scored, and I high stepped from like the 30 into the end zone. And, we just had a great time. But ever since then, that's what was so great about Peyton Manning, because that blitz worked that one time and never worked again. Even if he thought that blitz was coming, he would move the running back over. Be like, hey, get over. So, that was it was always great playing against Peyton, because he was always going to make you work for, anything you got. And I think that was one of maybe the 3 or 4 plays that I ever made, big plays I ever made against Peyton Manning, and I had to work for them all. So, it was always cool. It always brought out best in you, because you always want to play against the best. And it didn't matter if we were getting our brains beat in or we were beating them up. We always got the best of each other, or the best out of each other.
Well, you can certainly get the best of Keith Bulluck on Sunday nights on News Channel 5. You can hear him on Titans Tonight on Titans Radio on 104.5 The Zone. You can even see, we don't need to hear the tease. Obviously, you can check Keith Bulluck out there, of course, and we're grateful to Keith Bulluck's time. But we don't need to hear me ramble on and on about it. Keith Bulluck, Mr. Monday Night, talking about his great games against Peyton Manning's Colts. Was a fun podcast. We talked about a lot of different things. Like I said, you can go check the full podcast out right here on the very same Facebook or YouTube, Twitch channel that you are viewing the Primetime Show on right now, or in your favorite podcast feed. All right, second half is getting ready to start, so we'll get you a weekend bounce back and get you on out of here. Who needs to bounce back most in sports? talk about it together right after I remind you that the Primetime Show is presented by the Ashton Real Estate Group of RE/MAX Advantage, the official real estate agent of the Nashville Predators. Speaking of the Nashville Predators, Philip Forsberg is going to be on the radio show tomorrow at 11 a.m. We're excited to have Phil for the first time as a radio show guest. Gary is the official real estate agent of Philip Forsberg, the Nashville Predators, and so many other hundreds of thousands of Middle Tennesseans over the years. The official real estate agent of the Preds and of the Primetime Show is the Ashton Real Estate Group of RE/MAX Advantage. Go to GaryAshton.com and get the intel edge you need to succeed today. So, who needs to bounce back most in sports? Preds had a pregame tonight. That's right. They had a preseason game at Bridgestone Arena. I did not watch that. I don't know. I probably should, actually, since Forsberg's going to be on the radio show tomorrow. I'm assuming that Forsberg does not play in the preseason, but I don't know that. Hockey may be different. I should not make those assumptions. So I will check out what happened in the preseason game for the Preds probably after this. Thursday Night Football is what is on the monitor in the office right now, though, which is stupid. I'd rather watch Preds preseason than 27-3 and watching Sam Howell flail about back there. Brian Robinson. Such a fun player. Anyway, I'm a little delayed for you guys. Brandon Bird says not on TV. Oh, well, then I don't feel as bad about about missing the Preds preseason game. Either way, who needs to bounce back? William Jones says NPF. NPF, a good one. Nicholas Petit-Frere as a bounce back candidate. I don't think he's going to play much, if at all, this weekend. I bet that if Dillard continues to struggle, they try and pull him out of the lineup for NPF. I don't know when that's going to happen. I don't know if that's going to happen for sure, because I guess Dillard could always turn it around. It's still pretty early in the season, but the bye week would make a lot of sense to make a change if you're going to make one. And if Skoronski, who is on track to come back this week, gets back into the lineup, there's no sense in changing out two parts right away because Dillard and Skoronski have at least worked together during training camp and will have a better sense for one another than would Skoronski and NPF if they decided to put both of them back in there for the first time on Sunday. It's not feasible. Jason Martinez says Fulton definitely needs to bounce back. I don't think so. He did a great game last week. The secondary had a great game last week. Christian Fulton played fine. Brandon Bird agrees. You guys are. I guess I don't know. Did you not watch Sunday's game? He was completely fine. There was no bad Christian Fulton plays. I think Joe Burrow got a couple of the defenders on the first drive of the game, but beyond that, there was nothing there from anybody in the Titans secondary really to bounce back from. I don't know who you might consider that to be. Now, would you like to see him do it against the Colts again? Would you like to see them string together good performances? I'd agree with that. I would agree with that assessment. But who needs to bounce back most? Well, frankly, it would not work to your benefit if it were to happen. But I think Jonathan Taylor and the Indianapolis Colts rushing attack, he could use a little bit of a bounce back.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot that happened. There was a trade request. There was earlier a contractual demand. I was there in Indianapolis when the trade request, it had gone in a couple days before. It gave it directly to owner Jim Irsay. Irsay said, "We are not trading you." I ended up reporting that he had made the trade request and everybody went bananas. Meanwhile, Irsay was literally standing next to me, or sitting next to me in a golf cart while talking to reporters. It was a lot, but Jonathan Taylor has no interest in any of that today. Talking to reporters for the first time, he said his only goal was to be healthy, and he is healthy now. He said it has been a journey. He called the contractual demands something that was this past offseason issue, which is interesting in itself. And I think the thing that most people want to know is he sounded like someone who is ready to play this week. And for all the talk about the off-the-field stuff, him being on the field really, really helps this Colts team.
So we'll find out. I assume he's going to play some. I don't think he's going to be like their lead back. I don't think he's going to get the majority of their carries, for example, or majority of their snaps on Sunday. But a running back with a month full of rest or a month off at the start of the season, coming in fresh with a rookie quarterback that's a big-time threat in a variety of different ways, Jonathan Taylor might have a bounce back. And if you're a Titans fan, certainly you would not want to see that. Kyle Phillips is also a good nominee for the bounce back. You could stand to see Kyle Phillips bounce back if you're a Titans fan. If Jonathan Taylor's going to have a bounce back, you could use an offensive player like Kyle Phillips or Peter Skoronski, who is on track today. Meant to look at his participation status or participation designation today on the injury report. Peter Skoronski was a full participant on Wednesday and was a full participant again today. So I would think that Peter Skoronski is going to be out there on Sunday against the Colts, which is a big deal. All right, that's going to do it for us tonight. We'll get you back to the stinky football game or whatever it is that you're watching on this Thursday evening. Have a great rest of your evening. Check out the 615 Sessions podcast. If you're traveling to Indy on Sunday or on Saturday, of course, always enjoy seeing Titans fans out and about. Radio show tomorrow, Philip Forsberg, like I said. Coach Dave McGinnis is going to break the Titans and Colts down as well. We always enjoy spending our evenings here with you, and we'll certainly look forward to hanging out with you again tomorrow from 10 to 1 on the radio show. And if not, the next time I talk to you will either be Sunday morning with Blaine Bishop, Mickey Ryan, and Kayla Anderson on the Lee Company Countdown to Kickoff pregame, Titans radio pregame with Jimmy Wyatt at 11:45, 15 minutes before kickoff, or primetime Sunday night from Indy. Either way, we'll talk to you at some point in the near future. Have a great rest of your evening. If I don't talk to you at some point in the future, have a great weekend in between then, and we'll do it all again next week on A to Z Sports Primetime.
Ready?